This program is rated PG. It contains themes and scenes which may not be suitable for very young audiences. Parental guidance is advised.
Be advised that the views and opinions of the hosts and guests do not reflect those of the station.
Hardy Jones is a photojournalist. His specialty is filming dolphins in the wild.
I've devoted my adult life to penetrating their complex universe. Each encounter with these magnificent creatures has evoked awe and admiration.
Hardy's documentaries featured the grace and beauty of one of nature's most intelligent animals. His films help motivate the public's affection for a species living in close-knit societies, where mothers tend to their calves with care and devotion. Hardy's interest in marine animals took a dramatic turn while on assignment in Japan. He was there to film a story about the hunting of wild dolphins.
I've been going to Japan for over 25 years. They have a great cultural, historical tie to hunting whales and dolphins. And they make no bones about the fact that they're doing it.
His video reports made headlines around the world.
Imagine a school of dolphins frolicking off the coast. Suddenly, they hear the sound of engines, and then the overwhelmingly painful sounds of the banging of metal bars. The dolphins flee before the terrifying sounds. But their flight takes them into a confined and unfamiliar space.
They extract the young and the pretty, and they put them in slings and they send them off to aquariums, where they're going to pay anywhere from $4,000 up to $50,000 a head. Then they kill the rest for the dolphin meat. The horror of lying on your side, out of the water, having trouble breathing, hearing the sounds of your pod mates as they're slaughtered. I just said to myself, just keep filming, and then get this.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Philippines Uncut. I'm your host, Buddy Cunan. And now, that special and beautiful and tragic video is the topic of our show tonight, and that is to end the wholesale slaughter of dolphins, specifically in Japan. And joining us to talk about this topic is Trixie Concepcion, and she is the Regional Director of the Earth Island Institute for Asia and the Pacific. Regional Director for Asia and the Pacific. Good evening, Trixie. Welcome again to Philippines Uncut. Pleasure to have you here.
Thank you, Buddy. Thank you for having us back again.
Yes, I mean, I remember we did a show about a year ago,
yes,
and on this topic,
yeah,
and I remember it was a very, very heavy topic for me because
yeah,
I'm an animal lover. I love dolphins. I love nature and animals, and that video that we saw was only a part of a video that Matt Damon and Hardy Jones made about the Taiji killings of dolphin killings.
Wow.
And, very powerful stuff, very powerful stuff.
Yes.
Now, okay, before we dive into that topic, let's talk about you and your background and what is Earth Island Institute?
Well, Earth Island Institute, we're an international environmental organization. Our headquarters is based in the U.S., pero we have an office here in the Philippines to campaign on dolphin captivity, and we also monitor all tuna companies, and we make sure that they don't kill dolphins in their fishing operation. So lahat ng tuna companies in the Philippines, I am happy to say, in a positive note, that they're all dolphin safe. you can actually buy your tuna cans without worrying if they kill dolphins in the Philippines. So, okay sila.
Okay. Now, okay, Earth Island Institute, what is the mission and vision? You said it's a US-based NGO and you are the Asia-Pacific chapter here. What is the, I mean, has it been around a long time? And what is the mission and vision of EEI?
Yeah, we've been here, our headquarters has been here for like 1987, more than 20 years. In the Philippines, we started in 1992, so that makes us about 21 years in the Philippines. Our goal here is to make the marine environment, for a particular project, our goal is to make the marine environment more sustainable. We need to ensure that species like dolphins, whales, and all of these other top predators in the ocean remain free, because ultimately if these animals go, we will also go. That is the end goal, is we protect the marine environment by protecting the species, the animals that live in the marine environment.
Okay, and focusing on dolphins.
Yes.
Now, why dolphins? What's special about dolphins?
Actually, a lot of people ask me, what's with dolphins? Aren't they just...
I mean, I love dolphins, don't get me wrong,
yes.
but what is special about dolphins that, I mean, do they occupy a special role in the ecosystem, in the hierarchy of things in the ecosystem, and why dolphins?
Right. Actually, first of all, the scientists that have been studying dolphins, they always say dolphins are the intelligent animals in the sea. They're like the humans in the sea. Actually, they have heavier brains than humans.
Wow.
The scientists have not even actually begun to know the complexity of their relationship in the ocean. Many scientists believe that they have a form of communication and language for different pods or different families of dolphins.
Even language, huh?
Yes,
Okay.
that's the term of some of the scientists.
Okay.
And then what is so compelling about this animal is that it is the only wild animal, mabangis na hayop, that's what we say locally, but it's the only wild animal that will help a human being in distress. And this is not something that's been made up. It's been documented by many people.
We've heard stories. I mean, even I've heard stories about swimmers being protected from sharks by schools of dolphins and things like that.
You have stranded fishermen that are, their ship capsized out there in the sea and they're being helped by dolphins. Then tinutulak said they're being pushed to the shore. So there are many instances. Why would a wild animal do this? You don't see a lion or a tiger doing this. So why would a wild animal do this?
That's true. I mean, this is that quality is empathy.
Exactly.
Right? And, sure, human beings have empathy, and some other species, dogs,
Yes.
I think, and now also dolphins, apparently.
Yes. So so for scientists, if you want to put it in a scientific objective way, they say, well, if an animal like this has an ability to be compassionate, then they might have a higher level of intelligence, a higher level of awareness about things. So maybe it is not right to treat them in the way that some of the people in the world are treating them, like killing them for meat or trapping them to be used for dolphin shows and stuff. So there should be a higher ethic in how we treat these animals because of what they are and how they function in the ecosystem.
Yes, I mean, they really are special creatures. No?
Right, yeah.
And, that video we saw earlier was very disturbing and nakakaawa. You really take pity on these animals. I mean, they're highly intelligent, highly emotional.
Yes.
And I guess their family groups are also very structured and very, I mean, it's not like, they're not solitary animals.
Yes, yes. They live in very big, complex groups, sometimes of 200 individuals. So that's a very big family out there.
What do you call a grouping of dolphins?
They call it a pod.
A pod, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
pod of dolphins.
Okay. Now, let's talk about the activities of Earth Island Institute before we talk about dolphins. What are the major activities? Aside from dolphin advocacy, what comprises your maritime or your marine protection advocacy?
Well, we believe, just like any other NGO, we believe that the power is ultimately with the consumer. The power is ultimately with individuals out there. So one of our programs in the Philippines and globally is a tuna dolphin program where we seek to protect dolphins from the operations of tuna fishing boats. Because in some areas in the world, and this is still happening unfortunately, like in the eastern tropical Pacific, this is a part of the Pacific Ocean below Mexico, where tuna boats still encircle dolphins when they catch the tuna. Because for some reason, yellowfin tuna and the dolphins in that part of the Pacific Ocean swim together. Okay. So automatically when the fishermen see, oh, there's a dolphin, there's definitely tuna underneath, so let's encircle both the dolphins and the tuna. And that particular kind of fishing practice has killed about 6 million dolphins since the 1960s.
Wow, 6 million. Huh?
Since the 1960s. So for many years, environmentalists in the U.S. have pushed the U.S. government to enact a Marine Mammal Protection Act.
Yes.
And they actually won 2-3 decades ago. And now it's a law in the United States where if a country or a corporation kills dolphins in its tuna fishing activity, the tuna from that fishing activity cannot be imported into the United States. That is where our program comes in.
So all Philippine companies that export tuna
Yes.
to the United States are all dolphin safe.
Exactly.
Now, how do you ensure that they're
Right.
dolphin safe? You have people on board the boats, you have spotters. How do you do it?
Actually, we have a handful of observers that
Right.
monitor all of the fishing boats that supply the tuna to the canneries in the Philippines.
Okay, okay.
So we do spot checks. We go out with the boats for a time and then we return, and then we document the entire fishing operation while we're there.
And there's no resistance from the owners of these companies or vessels for your presence there, or they actually welcome it?
Actually, this is to ensure that the products they're selling abroad is
Okay.
definitely dolphin safe, and the consumers are happy with that. And since the consumers
Okay.
are the top
Yes,
boss,
yes.
if you talk about a consumer product, well, whatever the consumer wants or whatever the consumer asks, then the suppliers would need to do it. So this is where we draw the strength of our program, is from the demand of the consumer.
So as an NGO, do you certify certain companies as being tuna safe? I mean, I'm sorry, dolphin safe?
Yes, yes.
You do.
We actually have a website of all the companies that we certify. It's on www.dolphinsafetuna.org.
Are you the only group doing this in the Philippines?
We're the only group doing it for the entire planet.
Wow, okay.
Yes, that is our main program.
Okay,
Yes.
so in the Philippines, you have EII,
Right.
which does. But how about in other places in the Pacific, that let's say in neighboring areas,
Oh,
in Asia? I
in-
mean, which groups do this for companies that fish for tuna there?
In Asia, it's the Philippines that covers East Asia until the Western Pacific.
Okay.
There's another area in Mauritius that covers Indian Ocean and Africa.
But time out. How big is your organization here in the Philippines? That's a lot of ground, no?
Yes, believe it or not, we're about less than 10 people in my office.
So how do you cover all the people, all the companies who fish for tuna and export to the United States? I mean, it's a lot. The U.S. is a
That's
big
right.
market.
That's right.
So how do you police all these, or how do you certify, or how do you guarantee that all these companies shipping to the States are tuna dolphin safe?
Right. We have what we call a traceability check from a company, where we actually visit on site the source of their tuna, and we look at their documents on how well they can trace the tuna that they process. So if like a fish is unloaded for your company, what documents do you have to prove that this was unloaded at this time and at this date, and when did it enter the factory, when did you process it? So we also do a whole lot of documentation, and the documentation has to match what we actually see on the ground. So
Sounds like a lot of work, huh?
it is a lot of work, but we're happy because we ensure that no dolphins are killed, and
Definitely,
more
definitely.
importantly, the consumers
Definitely.
are confident that their product does not kill dolphins.
What about exports to Europe? I mean, they also consume a lot of tuna in Europe.
A
Is there
whole
any
lot.
legislation in the EU about this, about requiring companies to be dolphin safe?
Right? In Europe, they're easier to talk to because there's actually no legislation in Europe.
Okay.
It is actually the consumers that are demanding that their products be labeled
There's
sustainable.
awareness there in Europe for a
Exactly.
whole range of issues like health and wellness and the environment is probably higher. No?
Exactly. So here, there's no legislation. If you look at it, there's really no legislation about dolphin safe tuna, but it is actually the Association of Food Importers in Europe that say, okay, even if there's no law, we want this as a standard for food that is entering our country. So which
Europe is dolphin safe. The tuna we buy in Europe, let's say we go to Europe and buy tuna,
yes,
it's
is.
dolphin safe.
Yes, it is.
Very good. Now, okay, let's talk about Tylls. Okay, this event. I mean, that video we saw was narrated by Matt Damon and filmed by Hardy Jones. Okay, whom you met apparently.
Yeah,
I mean,
a few years ago. Yeah.
He's also one of the leaders in the
Right.
Protect the Dolphin
Right.
movement. No. Now, let's talk about it. What exactly goes on in Tylls? How come they have to kill? I mean, how come they have this big spectacle where they drive the dolphins in the cove and they catch them, they kill them, whatever? What goes on?
They say that it's a tradition, but the truth is, okay, if there was any traditional hunting anywhere in the planet, like a few hundred years ago, I would think that they would catch 1, 2 dolphins, okay, and then have the community use it because maybe 200, 300 years ago they didn't have a refrigeration system.
Sure.
They did not have motorized boats that can kill. But the thing about this particular hunt right now is that they use motorized boats that are very fast. They have a refrigeration system. They take in more dolphins. They can butcher as much as 100 dolphins in a single hunt. And it's not traditional. According to the people from Japan, as there's a documentary called The Cove which documented it, it is not a tradition of the Japanese people to eat dolphin meat.
Yes.
They say that it started because of the war during World War II. Food was very hard to come by, and what the people had to resort to was to hunt dolphins for food. So it started World War II. So it's not really a kind of a culture that they want to define. It's probably because at that time they needed to survive. And as time went by, some of these fishermen, they decided to make it more like an institutionalized practice where they formed unions, where they have boats, motorized boats going out.
But okay, what is the objective? So they drive these dolphins into this cove, and we saw in the video that they mentioned that they take some into captivity and for the meat, etc. But what is the main objective? It's really for that, to get dolphins and catch them and bring them and sell them to theme parks and water parks, things like that.
For sure, buddy, because one dolphin for a dolphin show park costs $154,000. One untrained dolphin. It's one untrained dolphin.
Wow.
But if you get a dolphin and you butcher it for its meat, it's only $600 per kilo of dead dolphin meat. So if you look at the economics of it, which would be the driving factor to do the hunts? Of course, it's the money from the marine park. So we believe that the reason why this has been continuing, because there's no reason now for Japan to do this.
Okay, I can understand. Okay, I can understand it's a business, and I'm not for it. I'm not for the capture of dolphins. But okay, let's say just viewing it as a business.
Yes.
They go there, they catch the dolphins, they bring them to the parks.
Right.
But why do they have to kill them? And you mentioned it about. Traditionally Japanese do not eat dolphin meat, and I know I go to Japan quite often. I've never seen a dolphin steak or a dolphin sashimi ever. So why do they have to kill them? I don't understand.
When we asked this question with Rick O'Barry, who is our main person on the ground, who's been doing this for many years, he said that quite frankly the Japanese fishermen tell him that they see dolphins as pests, peste. So why? And they said, well,
They eat the fish, maybe?
They can eat 25 kilos of fish in a day.
Wow, that's a lot of fish.
It's a lot of fish, yes. Yeah. And to the fishermen, that's competition. So to them, they want to kill off the competition by killing dolphins. And this argument was actually presented in a meeting of the International Whaling Commission as a justification for Japan killing dolphins. And then all of the delegates of that particular meeting at the IWC, they were so aghast and they said, that's biological nonsense. How could you say that dolphins are pests of the sea and then that you have to exterminate them so that the fish can, can propagate?
Yes,
nobody would believe this argument. And it's very strange that they make this a reason for killing dolphins.
No, okay. Japanese people in general, they love animals, and these days, it's become very popular to be pro-environment, and there's a lot of awareness now because of the internet, because of groups like you, because of stars like Matt Damon making it all high profile. How come this thing in Taiji hasn't stopped? I mean, where's the uproar? I mean, there is an uproar, I'm sure. We're all outraged. How come it hasn't stopped?
Because the government tolerates it, and according to our monitors on the ground, it's because a few handful of rich, now they're very rich, fishermen would like to continue with this particular business.
Yes.
It's a business if you look at it. So they want to make sure that they have livelihoods. They're using the issue of livelihood, but it's only 25 people in a very small coastal village.
Yes, I mean Taiji. I mean, before this happened, no one ever heard of Taiji.
Exactly, exactly. And well, maybe it's maybe an Asian thing. To save face, that's why they're continuing to do this. So we're trying to learn about the culture of Japan. But the good thing about this, buddy, is that
is there any good news on the horizon? I mean, we've been talking about this for a year already, and I understand it's been going on for a long time.
Yes.
What is the good news? Give us some good news.
Yes, it is.
So you can smile.
For the first time, the Japanese people actually joined the protests against the hunt last season. So there were many. Yes, they are. Because for many years, the thing about the Japan media, and this is what the Cove monitors tell us, is that the Japanese media do not actually publicize what's really going on. In some areas, they say that there's a news blackout of what's happening in Taiji. So when the Japanese people, especially the young people, learned about this, they actually volunteered to be cove monitors for the entire dolphin killing season from September to March.
Okay.
So, and they were the ones who are starting to protest. They protested in Tokyo. Now they are engaging their very own prime minister to address the issue. So we are very encouraged by that development.
That's a bit of good news, finally.
Yes,
Finally.
because if the Japanese people get involved and they say, wait a minute, this is not tradition, this is not really real, it's only 25 people doing this, and we believe that the 25 people can stop doing this for the sake of the rest of Japan because it's giving a bad image to Japan.
Absolutely.
Even Yoko Ono,
Yes, yes.
she actually wrote a letter to the fishermen in Japan saying,
Absolutely.
and one of her quotable quotes is that you should stop doing this because it's going to make the children of the world hate the Japanese. We love her for it.
Okay. Trixie, hold that thought because we have to pause for a break. More of Earth Island Institute and the slaughter of dolphins when Philippines Uncut returns.
Overwhelmingly painful sounds of the banging of metal bars. The dolphins flee before the terrifying sounds. But their flight takes them into a confined and unfamiliar space.
They extract the young and the pretty, and they put them in slings and they send them off to aquariums, where they're going to pay anywhere from $4,000 up to $50,000 a head. Then they kill the rest for the dolphin meat. The horror of lying on your side out of
This program is rated PG. It contains themes and scenes which may not be suitable for very young audiences. Parental guidance is advised.
Be advised that the views and opinions of the hosts and guests do not reflect those of the station.
Knit societies, where mothers tend to their calves with care and devotion. Hardy's interest in marine animals took a dramatic turn while on assignment in Japan. He was there to film a story about the hunting of wild dolphins.
I've been going to Japan for over 25 years. They have a great cultural, historical tie to hunting whales and dolphins. And they make no bones about the fact that they're doing it.
His video reports made headlines around the world.
Imagine a school of dolphins frolicking off the coast. Suddenly, they hear the sound of engines, and then the
Hardy Jones is a photojournalist. His specialty is filming dolphins in the wild.
I've devoted my adult life to penetrating their complex universe. Each encounter with these magnificent creatures has evoked awe and admiration.
Hardy's documentaries featured the grace and beauty of one of nature's most intelligent animals. His films help motivate the public's affection for a species living in close
To the water, having trouble breathing, hearing the sounds of your pod mates as they're slaughtered. I just said to myself, just keep filming, and then get this.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Philippines Uncut. I'm your host, Buddy Cunan. And now, that special and beautiful and tragic video is the topic of our shoot, right? And that is to end the wholesale slaughter of dolphins, specifically in Japan. And joining us to talk about this topic is Trixie Concepcion, and she is the Regional Director of the Earth Island Institute for Asia and the Pacific. Regional Director for Asia and the Pacific. Good evening, Trixie.